Welcome back. Diagnosis of melanoma skin cancer in Ireland has tripled over the past 20 years to over 1,000 cases annually. In response, the Irish Skin Foundation has launched the Protect and Inspect campaign in a bid to reduce the figures.
Joining us this morning are Bernie Rice, who lost her daughter Sharon to melanoma back in 2008, and Dr Rupert Barry, consultant dermatologist and the micrographic surgeon at St James's Hospital in Dublin. You're both very welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, they're frightening stats that Ian alluded to there, and we'll get to them in a minute, Rupert. But first of all, Bernie, you lost your daughter Sharon a number of years ago, and we're very sorry for your loss. But can you tell us what life was like in the lead up to Sharon's diagnosis?
Well, you see, Sharon was a young girl of 31. So she was living an independent life, needless to say, at that age, you know. And I mean, I wasn't aware, like, you know, of what was on, it was on the side of her knee at the time. And it was a mole that had changed. And the first that I knew about it, like, you know, was when Sharon said to me about and showed me, like, you know, she was going to get this checked up.
So she was self-aware, and she was aware enough about melanoma to notice a change in her mole?
No. If Sharon was aware, like, she wasn't aware of, you know, the repercussions of something like that. No young girl, like, at that age that had so much to live for, kind of, like, is going to leave something if you knew. Okay. I mean, up to that, Sharon lived a very healthy life. Like, she lived in Germany for a couple of years, kind of, like, when she was doing a degree in university, like, in Maynooth, you know. And, like, so lived a full life. You know, and she came home after that, like, took up work here. And, of course, that was 2007, like, you know, when, 2006, actually, when she was diagnosed, kind of, like, you know, with the melanoma. And that was really only going and getting it checked up and getting a referral and then to James's Hospital.
And what was your understanding at the time of melanoma? Did you have a huge understanding
Laura,
of it? Or?
I didn't, and that's been quite honest.
I'm surprised. Many of us would be the same.
You know, and if you think of it, this is 9 years ago. Now, we have learned so much, and so much research has been made now within that 9 years, you know. And, I mean, even people that I spoke about, too, kind of like about moles or anything like that, like, OK, people were aware, and some did get them taken off, like, you know. But I think when it got on to the melanoma end of things, it was bizarre. And as I said to Dr Barry, like, you know, going back 9 years ago, kind of like it was... melanoma was starting to come out, like, in the under 50s, which was always, and I remember hearing, like, it was always classified as an old person's, you know, skin cancer.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Like, but,
Really?
like, it certainly wasn't in the younger age group.
Just wouldn't be on the radar.
Absolutely not, like, you know. So it was...
Yeah, and then in Sharon's case, then she had the mole removed, so thought everything was fine.
Yes.
And got on with her life. But,
yes, Well, you see, when the biopsy was done on, you know, on the mole, it was discovered it was malignant, and she had to go in and get a second operation, right, because it has to be cleared the area. And Dr Barry would know all this, like, you know, and so quite a large amount was taken away, like, to clear the area. So she got on with her life. As I said, in 2007. She was married in June, like, she was Midsummer's Day bride, absolutely wonderful, and she looked radiant. And then in November of 2007, she was moving into a house and became unwell again, and unfortunately that kind of progressed.
So the cancer had spread.
It had. It gone into the lymph nodes.
Shockingly quickly, when you think about it, from diagnosis, she took action.
But that's...
had the mole removed.
Absolutely.
You think you're in the clear, life is good again.
Yes, but you see, the whole key was early detection.
Yeah.
And this is where Sharon missed out.
Okay.
And that would be part of our awareness now.
Indeed.
It's early detection.
Vital.
Rupert, we talked about the numbers having gone from 386 in 94 to 1,041 in 2014. What accounts for that surge? That is like a tripling. So where does that come from?
Well, what we're seeing in Ireland is really kind of a mirroring of what we're seeing across northwestern Europe and what we've seen previously in Australia and in North America. There is a natural increase in the incidence of this skin cancer, and probably that's also largely related to a combination of factors, especially the fact that we have different lifestyles nowadays. You know, we travel abroad to hot countries, much higher levels of ambient sunlight. Maybe our grandparents and great-grandparents, they just had totally different lifestyles. Also, I suppose the clothing we wear, you know, when people went to the beach, you know, in Victorian times, they went down in their pyjamas. Nowadays, like, you know, we go down in a bikini or kind of in shorts.
Yeah.
So we're getting lots more exposure to sunlight, a lot more outdoor work and a lot more outdoor hobbies. And I suppose our leisure time is much greater than it was in previous generations.
Yeah.
So there's a combination of all those factors. And also probably, as well as there being an increase in the actual instance, so new cases of melanoma each year, there's also, we're getting better at diagnosing it, and people are much more aware, so they're going and seeking medical opinion, you know, quicker than they may have previously.
Okay. Now, one of the key issues around this is that a lot of damage can be done very, very early in life. So the more we look after our children, and what one of us doesn't want to protect our children to the nth degree, but sometimes we kind of go, oh, aren't they lovely with a 10? And it's not really the right approach.
You know, undoubtedly, we know from data that kind of the high-risk exposure is often when we're in our young age group, so kind of early childhood, adolescence, and that high, very intense, kind of holiday-like intense ultraviolet exposure in our early years is associated with skin cancer, particularly melanoma, and then another type of skin cancer, non-melanoma, called basal cell carcinoma. So it's that intense occasional exposure, which is certainly early in life, can be a significant risk factor. But the incidence of skin cancer is a cumulative thing. So our risks is we accumulate that throughout our years. But I think one of the reasons why maybe we don't think of it and we don't make that association is that there's often a significant lag time. So our intense sun exposure and then maybe sunbed usage or sunburn that we had when we were in our teens or early 20s, we may not actually develop a skin cancer, particularly if it's a non-melanoma skin cancer, until maybe we're in our 40s, 50s, 60s. So it's hard to make that association then for people.
Dr Barry, I do want to mention this incredible study that was carried out in the dermatology department of Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Drogheda, found that the majority of people, over 66%, found that when they were questioned about their skin, they underestimated their skin sensitivity. So we essentially think that we can take the sun more than we can, the majority of us. And I suppose that's key in terms of this Protect and Inspect campaign launched by the Irish Skin Foundation earlier on this week. It's not to underestimate that you will burn and that you may not, you know, you may, if you want to put on skin cream, you need to use a higher factor. I mean, what should we be looking out to do this summer for us, for our children?
Well, certainly, you know, I suppose there's two aspects to this, because there's different types of main common radiation which come from the sun. That's ultraviolet B, which kind of your SPF, your sun protection factor number. That is how good a protector the sun cream is, but also your ultraviolet A. And interestingly, maybe how people might buy into is that ultraviolet A is much more commonly associated with premature skin aging, and that the sunlight not only maybe can give us skin cancer, but it does also prematurely age our skin. So you're looking for on the bottle an SPF of at least 30, preferably 50 for the face, and then a star rating that goes from 0, which is very low UVA protection, to 5 stars, which is very high level protection. And you want to have a sunscreen that is a combination of maybe SPF 30 to 50 and 4 or 5 stars. And sometimes in order to get people to buy into it, particularly young children, you know, sometimes use the spray. The spray is often very good. And also males, sometimes with kind of, let's say, maybe less thatch on top of the head, you know, they don't want to have a kind of an obvious sunscreen on the head. So actually use of the paediatric spray, put it on the scalp, people don't even know you have it on.
Very good.
Okay, Dr Rupert, thank you so much. And Bernie, I know yourself and Peter have set up the Sharon Rice O'Byrne Melanoma Trust, and you've been raising awareness.
That's right.
So thank you so much for that, and continued success.